So I came up with some different meal ideas, and where you could take, basic groceries that you would buy and create some delicious, delicious meals with plenty for leftovers. So we're going to do a couple of those today and a couple on another show. But I want to start out talking about how you can take a few minutes of your time. Our local, and I think it's pretty much nationwide, but our local grocery stores where I live in Virginia and Tennessee, I live right on the border, Bristol, Virginia and Tennessee. Our sales start at the grocery stores on Wednesday and they go through the following Tuesday. So Wednesday's newspaper has the ads. So I picked up a newspaper that's a current one for me, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different grocery store ads here. Now, wherever you live, you will have maybe this, fewer, more different stores. I know there are tons of different grocery stores, and this program does go outside of my local area. So, but the same principles will apply wherever your local grocery stores, whatever they are. Now, the first thing you want to do is take stock of what you currently have. Look in your refrigerator, look in your pantry, look in your freezer, and see what you have. I can't do that here because we keep minimal food on the set here, but that's the first thing you need to do. Write down, literally, I have a notebook right here. Write down what you already have and what needs to be used up. And then take your sale flyers and look at always, I don't care what grocery store you're shopping at, look at the front page and the back page. This one has a little extra Friday, Saturday. I think this is Friday and Saturday deals that are only good on those days. But the rest of the flyer, always, no matter what store it is, this one locally is Food City, this one is Kroger's, this one is Aldi, Food Lion, Food Country. The best deals are going to be located on, most of the time, on your front page and your back page. In the business world, in the food business world, those are called loss leaders. Sometimes the grocery stores are taking a loss on these items trying to get you in the store. So they're always going to be your better buys. So look at what's on sale. For instance, at Kroger this week, they have lean ground beef on sale for $2.99 a pound. I haven't seen lean ground beef, 80%, so it's ground chuck. I haven't seen ground chuck $2.99 a pound in a long time where I live. So I would think, okay, that's a good protein. What can I make with that? They've got boneless pork chops, $2.99 a pound. They have blueberries, $3.99. That's not meat, but still. Typically, I plan my meals based on protein. Obviously, your steaks are going to be more expensive. For instance, these are $10.99 a pound. That's a special occasion, rare type thing. They have boneless pork chops, 10 for 10, so you're going to get 1 for $1. You get what I'm saying. This grocery store has chicken thighs and drumsticks on sale, 99 cents a pound. Their ground chuck is $3.99 a pound. So the chicken may be a better deal at this one and the ground beef at this one. So look at what's on sale and plan your meals according to that. That's one good tip. I don't want to lose my papers because I actually have to do my meal planning for next week at home. I do that almost every single week of the world. I plan out what we're having for dinner at home just about every single week. I find when I meal plan and I plan ahead, I get out my calendar and I look at what's going on schedules, and I plan based on what's on sale, what I have accordingly. But when you've got a plan, dinner time is so much easier. And you can save money by planning ahead, utilizing those sale items and what you currently have. Plan your meals around that. Now, that being said, a good idea when you have a few extra dollars maybe in your food budget, and I know sometimes that may not be possible. Maybe it's just one time every other week or once a week or whatever. You might have $1 or $2 extra in your budget. Most of us do have a food budget. I do encourage you to stock up on basic pantry items as you can. For instance, beans, which we're going to cook today. We're going to make a Cajun red beans and rice. And I actually broke down the cost, and we'll get into that when we start cooking. Beans are an inexpensive, delicious, versatile thing to have on hand. And dried beans are less expensive than canned. Are they as convenient? Not always, but you can totally cook them ahead. You cook them in your Instant Pot, your slow cooker. So they're a great thing to have on hand. Chicken bouillon cubes. This particular one is the Knorr brand. This has 8 cubes in it, and I think it was 98 cents. This package was 98 cents, so that's a great thing to have. Onions are a staple. Get a 3-pound bag of onions when they're on sale and use them, and you've got an onion is a staple in our home. Spices are another one. Now, I know sometimes spices can be expensive, but there are a few basic ones that if you have in your pantry, you can, substitute in and out, and you've got, this adds a tremendous amount of flavor to your foods. And these particular ones come from Walmart, and all of these, I think, were 98 cents. I think that's what they are. They're either 98 or 88. I can't remember right off the top of my head because I've had them for a while. But they're inexpensive. They're under $1. Crushed red pepper flakes. If you like heat, this is going to be your best friend. Onion powder. I have one son that loves onions, one son that likes the flavor but doesn't like the chunks, so that's a staple for us. I can add that instead of having the fresh. Paprika is not just to top deviled eggs. Yeah, it does do that, but it adds a lot of flavor to other dishes. There are different types. I just get the regular paprika. This is not hot. This is sweet paprika. They do make a hot paprika. Cumin. If you like Mexican food, great one to have on hand. And cinnamon. Cinnamon is one of those ingredients that I like to have on hand. Chili powder. A good all-purpose seasoning blend is Italian seasoning. This particular one has marjoram, thyme, rosemary, savory, sage, oregano, and basil. And it's delicious. And it's not expensive. You can find these at the Dollar Tree. The Dollar Trees, which I understand have now gone up to $1.25, so it should be $1.25 tree, but anyway, you can get spices there. You can also find them at stores like Ollie's and Big Lots. Cayenne pepper may not be a staple for some people. It is for me because I like spicy food. And here's one it's dried garlic. Now, this brings up another point. Always look in your international aisle at your grocery store. A lot of times you can find spices less than you will in the baking spice aisle at your regular grocery store. Sometimes those can be very, very pricey, and you will find in your international, like the Asian section or the Mexican section, different stores have different sections. Most of the time, the spices will be a whole lot less. So those are just some basic tips. I'm going to clear all this out, and when I come back, we're going to get started on our delicious Cajun red beans and rice. You will be surprised at how delicious this is and how inexpensive it is to cook. I'll be back in just a minute. righty, welcome back. Now let's make a delicious, delicious meal that is so easy to cook, so delicious, and very, very inexpensive. We are going to make red beans and rice. Beans and rice are two of the most inexpensive things you can find in the grocery store. I find big bags of rice at the Dollar Tree for $1. Sometimes, you just have to pay attention to your prices. And rice will extend any dish. And, it's delicious and one of the main staples of the world. So we're going to get started on that. Now, I'm using dried red beans. These are small red beans. You could use black beans. You could use kidney beans. You could use any kind of bean you want. This bag of rice, I broke it down for us, so I've got my notes here. This bag was $1.28 for the small red beans. Again, look at your Dollar Trees. Sometimes they have a variety of beans. This is a pound. So what you will want to do is, I've already got them cooked because I cooked them in the slow cooker. I cooked them overnight at my home. You will want to take these out of the bag, rinse them, check to make sure there are no stones in there. Sometimes you will find stones or pieces of gravel and things like that in your beans. I'm a soaker. I soak my beans. Some people don't. I do. I actually brine my beans. So what I will do is take that whole bag, cover it with cold water, about that much over because they're going to swell up. But I also add about, 2 tablespoons or so of salt. That helps the bean to be flavored more. It acts in your beans just like it does in your meat, your protein or your chicken or your pork, whatever you're doing. It penetrates into the beans and flavors them. No, your beans won't be salty. They will be flavored. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but try it one time and you tell me if you don't think they taste better, because I think they do. Then you're going to soak them overnight or put them in a pot, bring it to a boil, cut off the heat, cover it, let it set for an hour. That's a quick soak method. Either one will work. Then you're going to put them in your crock pot. I've already got some in here. Let me put this over here out of the way. And they're going to cook, and they're going to be delicious and tender. In your pot, you're going to chop up one of your onions. You're going to chop up 2 or 3 ribs of celery because that's, we're doing red beans and rice, Cajun red beans and rice. Those are basic ingredients in the, as they call Trinity, adding a green pepper, which I didn't add to this, but you totally could. You can saute these before you add them or not, up to you. Then you're going to add 6 of your bouillon cubes to that, or 6 cups of chicken broth if you're not using these. These are just really handy to have and inexpensive, and they don't take up much room, and they're extremely shelf stable. Well, let me get it open here for you, and I'll show you what they look like. You can buy these, of course, in the loose granules to keep in your pantry or prepared, whatever you want. These are pretty big. You want 6 of them with water to make 6 cups of chicken broth. Pour that over. Then you're going to add about a teaspoon or so of your Italian seasoning, as much as you want of your chili powder. I add a couple of teaspoons. A little bit of cayenne if you want the heat, and a little bit of garlic powder. Put them on low, let them simmer. I did mine overnight, and they are done, and they are delicious, and they're ready for the next part, which is, now, okay, our beans were $1.28. The onion, I had to estimate, about 28 cents or so. This is like 40 cents. The spices are pennies. I didn't calculate that in. I used 6 of these, so that's 73 cents. And in my Instant Pot, I have 2 cups of white rice that I cooked with equal parts water. That's 73 cents because the bag was $1.46. If you want to, and I do, I'm going to add a little bit of Cajun sausage. Now, This was $3.98 at my store. I'm not going to use this whole thing. I'm only going to use half. So you've got some left for another meal. But I'm going to saute this first. Oh, it smells so good. You could use any kind of sausage that you wanted. You could leave it out if you don't want to add it. It's delicious without it. But if you want to add a little bit of meat to it, this is a great way to add flavor. Oh, and bulk up the meal a little bit. It's delicious. I've got a skillet, a nonstick skillet preheating over there. I'm just going to lightly brown this before I add it into my red beans. I just want it in slices, but you can do whatever you want to. However you want to do it is fine. I'm going to add just about a teaspoon of oil, vegetable oil. And I'm going to add my sausages. You could use, what are they called? Polska kielbasa. You could use, this is andouille. You could use, if you want to be authentic, boudin sausage, which you can find. You could use chorizo. You can find that in any sausage. You could put this Italian links if you wanted to. You do whatever you want to do. I just want to kind of get them a little bit browned. You see how quickly that happens when your skillet's hot? You see that caramelization on there? That's flavor. We're just going to add these to our pot in just a minute. You could also do turkey sausage if you wanted to. Could do hot dogs if you wanted to, or nothing at all. But this is a great way to stretch a meal a little bit more. Although beans and rice are very, very filling, and we've flavored them up with lots of spices. We've made them delicious, and they're good on their own. I like to cook red beans and put chili powder in them and then cut up hot dogs. When I was a little girl, and I mean, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, still to this day, I loved the little cans of, the beanie weenies that you buy in the grocery store, but I like the chili weenies. So good. I loved them. Still do. You can make those with red beans and just cut up a hot dog in there, flavor them up with some chili powder, maybe a little garlic powder, some onion powder. So good. That's all that is. And then that's it, my friends. You don't have to really do anything more to that. Cut that off. To serve, what you want to do is take your rice. Now, I just did mine in the Instant Pot. But you do yours however you want. You can do boil in the bag. You could do brown rice. I'm just doing white rice. You could add it to the pot if you wanted to. What I prefer to do is just do mine over top of the rice. Let me get this, because I want a little bit of that liquid, that flavorful broth in there. And you've got a delicious, delicious meal. If you want to put your sausages in there, you can, or you can just put a couple of them on top, whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. But you have a fantastic meal, and this will feed a whole lot of people for not a whole lot of money. And you've got half of this left for another meal. So if we're going to break it down into cost, the cost per serving of this with the sausage, if you're serving 4 people, which believe me, that's going to feed more than 4 people, it's $1.37 per serving. If you're going to serve 6 people, that's with the sausage, it's 92 cents. If you leave out the sausage, it's 75 cents for 4, and it's 44 cents for 6. Now, who wouldn't want to eat that? I definitely would want to eat that. Anybody would want to eat that. That is delicious. So you can have an inexpensive Cajun red beans and rice meal, excuse me, for your family very inexpensively and have enough left over for lunch tomorrow, dinner tomorrow night. So let's clean this up. When I come back, we're going to make one of my most favorite breakfast, lunch, or dinner. However, I like to have breakfast for dinner sometimes. We're going to do Eggs O'Brien. I'll be back in just a minute. Alrighty, now welcome back. We are going to be making Eggs O'Brien, which you could have for breakfast, you could have for lunch, you could have for dinner. You could totally make this, put it in a tortilla and have like a breakfast tortilla, burrito, or you don't have to, whatever you want to do. I have in this bowl 6 eggs, which when I purchased them were $1.76. I've used half of them. That's 88 cents. I also added about 1/4 cup of butter. I'm looking at my prices here, which is approximately, I don't know, 40 cents or so, depending on how much your milk is. And some salt and pepper. I'm just going to whisk that together. On the stove, I have half of a green pepper and a small onion. The onion was about 28 cents approximately. The green pepper, half of it was 41 cents saved, the other half for another use. I'm sauteing it in some butter, a tablespoon of butter, which is about a dime. I still like real butter. I use it. I think if you use real butter in a smaller amount, it's just the flavor superior. In this pot, I have 3 potatoes, approximately that big, about a pound or so of just russet potatoes. I peeled them, diced them, cooked them in just water, salted water, until they were tender. Just leave those to the side. We're sauteing our peppers and onions until they are just tender. Get back in there, onion. You could add, maybe 3 or 4 slices of bacon chopped up and cook that, or, already have cooked bacon and add that if you wanted to. I'm not, but you could. Now that our peppers and onion are tender, I'm going to add our whipped eggs that I just added some milk to. You could also use 1/2 and 1/2 for heavy cream, but milk is less expensive, so that's what we're using. Just makes them a little more flavorful, adds a tiny bit of protein, some calcium, just a little bit. Low and slow is the name of the game with eggs. For scrambled eggs, the slower you do them, the fluffier they're going to be. I like my vegetables to be just a little bit still, especially my green pepper, just to still have a little bit of bite to it. I don't like them to be mushy, but you could totally cook yours to whatever stage of softness that you like. You could serve this alongside whatever kind of fruit that you wanted, or maybe some toast. You could make this into a sandwich if you wanted. Serve the potatoes on the side. But scrambled eggs with stuff in them is a good way to stretch it, get some veggies in, and they're delicious. This is 6 eggs. Would be great as a brunch item, maybe with a green salad if you wanted to. And I mean, really, who doesn't like breakfast for dinner? I do. Now, I'm going to stir in my potatoes. If you wanted to add some cheese to this, you could. If you wanted to add some shredded cheddar or Monterey Jack. You totally could. One of my boys' favorite meals is what I cook for them called Farmer's Skillet. It is this similar to this, except it does have bacon, doesn't have the green pepper, and it has cheese in it, and they love it. And it's not at all uncommon for them to come at me at 10 o'clock at night saying, can you make me some Farmer's Skillet? So it's one of those meals that you can throw together in no time. I'm going to add some additional salt and pepper because potatoes need that salt and pepper. And that's it, my friend. And you have eggs O'Brien. Whenever you see O'Brien in a dish, that means it has peppers and onions in it. You could add some spinach to this if you wanted. You could do any number of things. It really is an inexpensive, delicious meal. If you're, with everything, not the bacon, if you put everything I've got in here, per serving, the total meal is $2.42. And you can easily serve 4. So without the bacon, I added the bacon in. Well, if you're going to add bacon, it's about 60 cents a serving for 4. Or without the bacon, excuse me, it's 61 cents. With the bacon, it's 73 cents per serving for 4 people. So, here's just a couple of meals that you could serve your family. Inexpensive and delicious meals. Our wonderful Cajun red beans and rice and our eggs O'Brien. Thank you for joining with me. Let me know what you're cooking for your family, and I'll see you next time on Everyday Manna.